Welcome back to the channel, guys, and today we're discussing a little bit different. Yesterday I was watching College Football Game Day, College Football Talk on ESPN, talking about the SEC media stuff, and I saw a thing that Jimbo Fisher said, talking about how good of an athlete Jalen Milroe is, the quarterback, one of the quarterbacks that could be starting for Alabama this year. Jalen Milroe talking about how good of an athlete he is, which, yeah, I think everyone recognizes one of the best just speed guys on their team, and he's the quarterback. He's one of the most athletic players on the team. But that got me to thinking about, because they're talking about who should be starting for Alabama. So I really thought about this, but I've been thinking about it since Tyler Buchner transferred over there on who really should be the starting quarterback. So I'm going to go through all three guys at Alabama and give my analysis on them. And I'll explain why for each one I believe a certain reason off of it, believe certain things off of. Now I'm going to start off with Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson is number 15. He's number 15 for Alabama. He looked not that bad, but we only go off the spring game of him. And this is some of the things I have to say about him from the spring game. He's definitely not as fast as Milroe is, but he's still pretty quick. He has some good moves. He's pretty elusive. Granted, there wasn't any tackling, so he probably gets some ankle tackles or leg tackles from the areas that he was trying to juke in and out of. But that still doesn't mean he can't run. He can run pretty good, so it's very nice to see. His accuracy looks pretty good overall. Some of his deep balls are a little bit, you need to hit some of them. Like, here's wide open ones to Burton. He missed out on two of them, but the short balls were pretty good. He had some good throws, definitely some good throws. Again, his deep ball needs to get a little bit better. But he wasn't bad. Nothing about him was like, yes, he should be the starter. But nothing about him was like, you know what, it can't be fixed. Like, this is a huge problem. But if you look at Alabama, they look like to be more of a run team this year. And you got a three-headed monster of running backs. Jace McClellan, who was the backup last year for Jahmyr Gibbs. And they're going to miss Jahmyr Gibbs, without a doubt, because Jahmyr Gibbs was a phenomenal pass catcher, which I think they'll definitely miss this year. But also, I think he was also a great runner, too. But I think you can make that up, but it's going to be a whole team production that would usually fill in the role of what Jahmyr Gibbs could do, and he was just one person. And then you had, what was the other dude? You have Justice Haynes, the guy coming out of Texas, who's a freshman who looks absolutely phenomenal. But he probably won't be the second back this year, which is on any other team, he'd probably be starting. So it's insane, just showing how good the running backs are. But Roydell Williams, number 5 for Alabama, he looks pretty good too. So he'll probably be the second guy. So you got 3 great running backs back there, so you might as well use them. And your receivers aren't bad. They're definitely not bad, but they're not like the Jerry Jeudy's, the Jalen Waddles, the Devontae Smiths of the world type of good. So if they do end up getting that good, then yeah, they'll throw the ball a lot. But right now, it doesn't look like that. So he can still move well, but he did throw an interception. Granted, that was mainly because it was a very good defensive play. So I'm not going to hold that against him. So his game wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was bad at all. Next up, let's talk about Jalen Milroe. This guy is the guy we have the most information about, because we actually got to watch him play against Jimbo Fisher's Texas A&M team. And we got to see how he would play as a starter. And I can safely say that Alabama fans had many, many heart attacks over how Jalen Milroe played. He had some plays that he just looked phenomenal. He threw some pretty good balls. Most of them were medium passes. He has a pretty good medium ball. But deep ball, questions. You have a lot of questions when it comes to deep ball. Like, I remember I'll talk about the spring game a little bit before I fully deep dive into the A&M game that he played and my analysis on that. But in the spring game, he had some good deep balls. He had 2 balls to start off with that were deep that weren't bad. Definitely weren't bad. Just good defense mainly. He threw a very good ball to end the first half. It was like, okay, that's very good. And then he threw up an absolute terrible ball in his own end zone that was picked off, and the next closest receiver is about 8 yards away. Like, I know he got hit a little bit while he was throwing, but you can't just throw into a situation that it will be like 4 defenders v 2 just throwing it up in the air. The probabilities of that working in your favor are so bad, and especially getting hit now. It was a super easy pick up. Almost got returned for a touchdown. But the deep balls can definitely work. He shows some signs of that working, some of them not. Ty Simpson had a very good ball at one point deep on the left side. It was very nice to see. The guy didn't catch it, but it was a phenomenal pass. Milroe, I counted him 1 for 4 on his deep balls, maybe 2 for 5. I might have forgot one. But he is by far the best athlete, like what Jimbo Fisher was talking about. He's a great athlete, without a doubt. And that showed against Arkansas when he filled in for Bryce Young in the second half. And it showed up again in A&M. He's a great athlete. He can run. He torched A&M's defense running. But it's his decision making that's the problem. There's a couple plays against A&M that he took a field goal to make a 38-yard field goal, 47-yarder, and then Will Reichard missed it. Could have been put him up by 10. And if you watch the kick, that kick would have gone in from 38 yards. And he fumbled twice and threw a pick in the first half. So it's like, and that gave A&M a free points because they were not scoring without them, with that type of field position. And so past the 50-yard line, he would keep getting turnovers. And that turnover effect had a problem everywhere else that led to people missing, and led to Reichard missing field goals, led to another fumble. So the more mistakes a quarterback makes, the more perfect your team's going to have to play. And A&M did not play a good game. A&M did not play a good game, and they finished 5-7 last year. So a bad game, an okay game for A&M is not that good anyway, like compared to anyone else. And they still almost won. If it wasn't for one of the worst play calls on the goal line ever, I probably would have said, we've probably been talking about how Milroe lost the game for Alabama. But they barely closed it out. But when you look at it again, I talk about these running backs. He plays very well into their system if they're going to run the ball because he's a very good option quarterback. And Justice Haynes showed how he can be good on the goal line in the spring game. We already know how Jace McClendon can be. He had a big run against Texas. That was huge. Then you have Roydell Williams, who can be pretty good. I don't know enough about him to be able to say if he's good or great or bad or okay. I don't know enough. But one thing I can tell you is that Jalen Milroe has breakaway speed. That showed when he had about a 45-yard rushing touchdown. The spring game, that showed he had a lot of big runs against Arkansas and against A&M. So if he looks like he fits the offense better, again, his throwing is going to be a problem, especially when you have to face other teams in the conference that have people who can throw the ball very well, like a Joe Milton, like probably a Spencer Rattler. I don't think they played them this year, but like a Jaden Daniels, a KJ Jefferson, players that can throw the ball very well or have the potential to throw the ball really well. You have to watch out for them. And Jackson Dart and Spencer Sanders like right next to each other. I might talk about them at one point at Ole Miss. But they're neck and neck with each other. And they can be good. And Will Rogers, of course, is going to throw the ball a lot. So you have to have games that you got to be able to keep up with them. And people talk about they can go back to what they were doing in like mid 2010s when they had Derrick Henry, Kenyon Drake, let's run the ball. And we get stops. Well, you had Mika Fitzpatrick. You had players like that. You had Tim Williams, who was a beast. You had Jonathan Allen. You had Campaign. You had guys like that. But you don't have that type of people right now. And you just lost your best defensive player in the draft with Will Anderson. So if you were going to do that, you'd have done that last year. Would have been probably the best case scenario. I don't see this defense improving a whole lot. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because it's like, well, can you get stops? Because this works if you can get stops. So yeah, that's what my analysis about Jalen Milroe. Again, he has a possible turnover problem, but if he doesn't throw, then you don't have to really worry about many turnovers. Because there's two strip sacks that happened with that when he was not looking, when he wasn't looking. But the final stats that he had against A&M was 12 for 29 from the field, passing, 111 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He had 83 rushing yards and 2 fumbles. You won. but barely. So I'll watch out for that this year. And then here comes interesting situation. Let me get a drink of water real quick. You have Tyler Buchner on your team, and honestly, this can mean one of two things, because you got the offensive coordinator from Notre Dame coming down of Tommy Rees, and this can mean one of two things. One, he just wants to bring his guys familiar with, so he can say like, hey guys, Milroe, hey, Ty Simpson, play better. Play better. You got to play better for this team. Or he's bringing them down saying, well, these guys sucked in the summer league compared, not some, I haven't due to me summer league videos. In the spring game, they did not play well in the spring game, so I'm going to bring my guy in to fill in. Well, he doesn't really fit the offense. Tyler Buchner does not fit unless they want to throw the ball, which I'd be shocked because, well, Tyler Buchner, he's the slowest out of the three. And he's not that slow, but if you want to pick a running back, put a running guy at quarterback, you put Milroe in. And if you want a guy to be able to throw the ball pretty good, put Ty Simpson in. And this is my main concern when it comes to him. He had 651 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions last year for Notre Dame. 3 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. That is atrocious when it comes to a guy that you want to start for Alabama. No. But he definitely could have a turnover problem. He's not bad. He's not bad, but he's not good at all, I'd say. But why would the offensive coordinator from Notre Dame bring down his guy that was just at Notre Dame with him if he wasn't going to start him? I don't know why. But I think a lot of Bama fans would not want Tyler Buchner to start. So, yeah, also because he's coming from Notre Dame. No Bama fan likes Notre Dame, especially after they did in the national title game. It's like, yeah, these guys suck. Bama always beats up Notre Dame, so why would they want one of them to come to Bama? So Tyler Buchner, again, he's not great. His passing. I watched the Ohio State game mainly against him. And you might think, oh, well, that's really tough to criticize him against Ohio State, especially at Ohio State. Well, you can look at what Michigan did. Michigan was very, very good, even throwing the ball against Ohio State. They got some of the run game, they got the pass game in, but at first they scored 10 points. 10 points, and he did not really do much on that. So he didn't play that good of a game. Also, they lost to Marshall, so that doesn't help him out at all. So, like, do you want this type of guy on your team as your starting quarterback? Does he fit the offense? That's the main thing. Does he fit? I don't think he does. So out of all the things I've said, the guy I would say I would want to start for Alabama is the guy who's actually played for Alabama as a starting quarterback, Jalen Milroe, because he just fits the offense better. He has a turnover problem, but if he cannot run, you don't have to worry about the turnovers. You can run an option offense. You can use Jace. You can use Justice Haynes, Jace McClendon, Roydell Williams. You can use all those 3. And have Milroe as a 4th threat. And have some good receivers. He's not a terrible thrower. He just needs to work on some of his accuracy a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. And outside of that, I think, definitely have problems. That's a big outside of that. But if he can fix that, he becomes one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. But right now, just for fit purposes, I want the fastest guy on the field. And that's Jalen Milroe. He's the best athlete. So, yeah, I'd probably have Jalen Milroe. I have Jalen Milroe as my starter. I'd probably put Ty Simpson as my backup. And then Tyler Buchner as my third. They'd probably put Tyler Buchner at their second just because the offensive coordinator is very familiar with him. Let alone starting, possibly. Again, he could definitely start because why would he bring him down there if he's not going to start? But it's like, I don't know. Why do you want to start Milroe? Because if you just want to win, Milroe's going to possibly give you games to win. But we will definitely see how this is going to be tested against Texas in the second week. So all these questions could be answered by then. If they're not, then they have a lot of problems. Because Texas is definitely one of the tougher teams, but not the toughest. And the tougher teams are coming up pretty quick on their schedule. You got to be ready for LSU. guaranteed in Tennessee. So yeah, yeah. Hope you all have a great day. I really love to hear in the comments what you think is going to happen with these quarterbacks. This quarterback controversy at Alabama. Hope you all have a great day. Again, leave down in the comments what you think about this. Hit the like button if you like the video. And yeah, we talk about sports content pretty much every day. And yeah, hope you all have a great day. Subscribe if you want to. And yeah, have a great day. Stay safe and God bless y'all.